Thank you. And now it's time for the most interesting session of the workshop, the panel discussion on protection against over voltages, lightning protection and surge protection, with moderator of the discussion as Mr. S. Gopakumar onto the stage.
Sorry, it's not about lightning protection, it's a general discussion. That is something somebody made a mistake. It's a general.
Sorry, it's general discussion.
I humbly request all the panel members to come to the dais. Mr. Umashankar Prasad Yadav, DDG, BIS Chennai. Mr. Uma Maheshwar Rao Bogi, Superintending Engineer, Regional Inspectorial Organization South, Chennai, CEA. Mr. R. Balakrishnan, VP, Head, MEP Design, L&T Construction. Mr. R. Ashokanand, Chief Engineering Manager, Electrical, PAF, L&T Construction.
Mr. Ramachandra Nimbagi, Head, Data Center Design, L&T Construction. Mr. Alexandra Paul, Managing Director, Kausi Technical Services Private Limited. Mr. S. Apau, General Secretary, NFE. Thank you all.
Hello, yeah. So, the last session, discussions, panel discussion, sometime we may be able to come out with some, good conclusions in this session. First of all, day before yesterday, we were thinking who will become the moderator. And sometime I am surprised to see that I didn't know when my name is put as moderator. But anyway, it's good. So, we have experienced panelist. Actually, I didn't prepare. I have paper, but don't think that I have so many questions. Nothing is there. Only few questions are there. But actually, you have to interact with us. Your questions will be answered. To start the session, I would like to start with a simple but one of the most important subject in electrical safety. And the question is to our chief guest from BIS, sir. The question is, Umashankar sir, the question is, one of the threat of electrical safety in the market all over India is duplicate. Even though products, those who need ISI marking, a lot of duplicates are there, wire, switches, daily, which we use daily in our house. For example, in Chennai, if you go to the market and if you ask the shopkeeper, I want a wire, then he says, if you are little bit known to him, or if you are seeing him for the second time, then he will say, I have this one 700 rupees, I have this one, the same thing 650 rupees. And if I ask, what is this 650? That is duplicate, I can give you guarantee. So generally this is the speech. And these are sold across the counter without any control. Actually, how do we control and stop this, sir?
Very pertinent question, and this question is really a nightmare for us also, because we design many ways to prevent it, and these unscrupulous people find ways to circumvent it. We have conducted many raids, many places, lodged complaint, put the case in the court of law. But as you know, the court takes its own time to decide on the punishment on the violation. By the time that he again start in some other name or something, we seized material, even then they start. And this duplication is of two types. One is spurious, means there will be spurious ISI mark, there will be spurious license number. Those can be detected, and the shopkeeper's material can be seized and case against can be lodged against it. And problem is that even the shopkeeper doesn't tell from where he has sourced it. So we have to catch him and we punish him. But another duplicacy is that suppose L&T makes cable and somebody in name of L&T with same license number, same rating, sells in a market or sells in a sale dealer's shop even. That also we have seen. That is very difficult to catch. Because he will tell this is L&T material, sir, or this is Phenol-X material. How to know? This is only the manufacturers can help us in this, because they have, they regularly visit market place and they know that whom they have sold it. Suppose they get information that this material is not ours, then we can jointly or even we single-handedly can conduct the raid and seize all the material and do the prosecution against him.
Excuse me, I will ask two more questions with two more panelists and then hand over to you. But the next question to Mr. Alex. Mr. Alex, you have seen my presentation on lightning protection. One of the challenge which all of us face all over India is most of the time electrical item, the importance to electrical items are electrical, last. It is the last item, after structure, after even finalizing the closet, electrical things are thought of. Lot of places, importance is given for beauty. This is actually killing electrical safety as well as, very well, lightning protection or whatever. Basics are always not followed. Here, the civil engineers or electrical, the architects plays the major role. What is your experience if you try to tell the architect that this is not correct, we should start with the foundation or something like that? Then we would like to hear from you about your experience in this case.
See, we have struggled a lot. So initially we have struggled a lot. At present, it's okay only. Most of the architects, they want only aesthetic. Also, the structural engineers, we go with the structural engineers, they are not accepting the rebar, everything they are not accepting. So this is the struggle everywhere. So recent also in some of the projects when we are discussing with the architects, they are told, I don't want like this. You put only one rod. So everywhere we are struggling. So one or two architects they are accepting, but mostly I think everyone is struggling the same only. The consultants, all the electrical consultants. So we are trying to convince the non-architect, where we are working regularly for the past so many years, we are trying to convince. But the new architects, recently grown architects and all, it's very tough. They are giving importance only to aesthetics.
Thank you. Sir, a question to Balakrishnan sir. Sir, yesterday and today, probably you are aware that we make the statement, the fire due to overload, fire due to short circuit. Now all of you must have known that fire is not due to overload or short circuit, because both overload and short circuit, the protective device is supposed to trip. So the fire or the accident is due to the non-operation of the protective device, which is actually a big threat in the country. I have tested at least 500, 600 installations, and maybe the compliance is only 20-25%. So, actually, sir, how do we handle this? It's a massive job. Believe me, we have to educate from the bosses to from the owner to the last electrician. It's a big job. How to handle this, sir?
Yeah. I think this is a statement Whenever there is a fire accident on the paper, newspaper, this is because of short circuit. They can close the case very easily once they declare it as short circuit. But I, being an electrical engineer, why it should happen? Because we are all designing a system for both short circuit as well as overload protection. So if the devices had worked, this should not happen. But what I feel, what should be improved or think, we have been to many government organizations for approvals and other things. So this graded protection probably is not being adopted properly. In all the designs, we do this graded protection, type 2 protections and all. That is not followed in principle. Probably that is the lacuna, in all the projects. So I think if we start adopting this, probably this can be avoided, fire accidents can be avoided, and a proper safe building can be declared. Yes, this is safe. And another thing is, I think there is no way to check after the installation. Initially, the checking and all is done, so everything is working fine. This is all components which need some maintenance and regular testing. Probably we should have a rule or something when CIG inspects every year the facilities. They should get into this aspect of how the equipments, at least major things, are still in working conditions or not. Probably I can give an example. The fire team, which comes also yearly, they go fully around and check everything. So probably some checks like this, of course it's the owner's first job is to ensure everything works properly, but as a second check, I think whenever the CIG inspects or there are inspections, latest test reports has to be provided in terms of the short circuit and overload protections of the facility. I think that can ensure a better thing, and we'll get less of things because of short circuit and overload.
Actually, we have to work for it. It's a long way to go. Thank you very much, sir. So I would like to ask a question to Uma Maheshwarji. The question is, very simple. All of us know that the new regulation is on the way. Probably, I don't know, we would like to hear from you the status of the regulation and when it is going to come. Now, the question is not about the regulation. The question is, imagine I am renting a house or I am renting something and the building owner didn't do the electrical installation properly and something happened and finally I am affected. What do I do with respect to, what is my legal, how can I ensure that and who has made the fault here, and how can I see that the person who made the fault, how can I penalize him? Any?
I think the house owner is responsible for that one. He has to carry out the inspection. At least he should follow the code of practices. So as per that one. Yeah.
Something about the new regulation, which is
new regulation. It is almost at the final stage. It is under approval of Chairperson CEA. After that one, it will be published, I think, within one or 2 weeks, maximum.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for the answer. So now probably, I have a question with Appav sir. Before that, you see, we started, or we were working for, creating classes. All of you, most of you knows, you were constantly following our classes in last. After COVID, we have conducted more than 400 2-hours class. Continuously we were doing. And all these NFE and all, after these are the, after these classes only we initiated these programs. But you see, those who are getting affected are common people, not electrical engineers. Most of the time electrical engineers are escaped, but the common people. The question to Appav sir, with his experience, sir, how do we see that the normal people are aware of their rights? For example, if somebody gets a shock because of a transformer or some wire on the roadside, you know, the Discom cannot do this. The humans have got a certain, you know, we have our fundamental rights. How to ensure that, but basically how to ensure that the people are aware of these fundamental rights?
Yes, it's a valid question. And every citizen, I used to say, is enshrined with their right to live under Article 21 of the Constitution of India, based on which only the Act, regulations, standards, is everything coming in a hierarchy to protect the general mass, general public. But unfortunately, we are all concentrating on the areas where technical manpower and a knowledgeable people are there, like industries or IT centers, whatever may be, 11 kV and above installation. CEA has rightly addressed the issue and brought out a separate entity under Regulation 5A, a competent electrical safety engineer, right from 2015 itself. But we have to, the state government, actually the responsibility of protecting the public is vested with the state government under the directive principles of the Constitution, Article 41 and 42. So they have to ensure safety by periodically publishing the list of CESCs. Unfortunately, this specific item, actually we are having much number of accidents in domestic and public places, not in even in industries where people are aware and they have a trained manpower. But these are the neglected area where we have to jointly work. Actually, NEC 2023 is to aim to address the general public at large, exclusively for the LT, the secondary side of installation where accidents are prevalent. So we have to work together and sensitize the general public what the rights they have. There are so many organizations. They are conducting some, ritually there are so many awareness campaigns, everything is going on. But practically, still our country is lagging in sensitizing the general public, what rights they have, how they can be channelized, how they can get the rights done to protect themselves. One more thing, I would like to say that in the recent judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court of India, it was based on a conductor snapping, but you get the judgment to the Honorable Supreme Court level itself is a very tough job. Normal citizen can't go, it's very tough. Unless he is completely 100% to his lifetime he is working, he can go up to that Supreme Court. So in that judgment, it has categorically and specifically ruled that it is an act of strict liability. Strict liability differs from the another word, negligence. You can't say that it is an act of God. If there is a conductor snapping, if there is a refrigerator fail or AC fail which killed people, you can't say that it's an act of God, it's a short circuit or electricity is, and it's not an act of God. The negligence is rightly fixed, it is strict liability, and whoever made such an act is directly responsible. So we have to move to the statutory authorities also. The person responsible should be, it's not something like, see in the road accidents, it is taken care. Every accident is taken care, unlike electrical accidents. It is, whenever an electrical accident happens, during every monsoon we are relieving lot of people, general public at loss. Just a few lakhs are given as a compensation. It's not correct. So we need not unnecessarily burden the government. We have to ensure safety at all levels. This is my answer. Thank you,
sir. Thank you. So before coming to you, one more question I would like to ask. Yeah, please.
I would like to add what sir has told. BIS organizes, in fact, there is a committee in every state that is called Standardization and Quality Committee, for which Chief Secretary is the chairman. And normally consumer affairs or industry secretary is a member secretary for that committee. And I am the member of all those committee. Southern region comprises of 6 states in southern region and 3 union territories. So there all the issues related to standards, implementation, quality are discussed, and the decisions are taken to implement certain standards, enforce certain standards in the state. So we have now the state level committee for standardization fixed on 8th May for Tamil Nadu. And I will take up this issue of implementation of NEC in that meeting, so that the state government fixed or give responsibility to some department for implementing NEC in the electrical installations.
That's a fantastic move. Thank you very much, sir. You see, I started working in NBC in 2014. Since then, first NBC 2017, this was published, then the NEC work was taken up, then parallelly following up with the CEA to change or to improve the regulations. This was a lot of work. Last week, one gentleman was telling me that once when you started this work, you had a lot of hairs. But once when the standards are out, you lost your hairs. So now it is going to the implementation. Once when this is implemented, will you have your head? Because you will have a lot of enemies. Now, I have a small question but a very tough question to Mr. Ramachandra. You see, the background of the question is, once when the new regulations, new standards, actually the system is totally changing, upside down. Once when the systems are changing, after some time, people realize that until yesterday what we did is wrong. Am I correct? Yes, we know that, okay, until last year we were, and electrical installation, the speciality of electrical installation is whatever we did wrong, you cannot correct because your building is already constructed. Now, if you wanted to correct, you have to entirely change the electrical installation. Most of the time, the modification is very difficult. 100% compliance is not possible, especially with respect to, not only with respect to safety, which is related to reliability also. For example, the hint of the question is, a little bit tough to answer. Equally, the electronic equipment safety, somebody was talking in between, some drive and some equipment were failing. Equally, internationally, about 12, 13 years back for data centers, the electronic protection, especially EMI, EMC, HEMP protection, these were already implemented. Now, this has not started yet in India. It is going to start. But once when one of the stopping point for not implementing is the people's mind, even Microsoft engineers are asking for separate. You know what is separate? 2 for neutral, 2 for body. They were asking. But once when these people realize that this was wrong, then they will try to find out what next. And after some time, they will realize that the data centers in the country are working, number one, without any safety, number two, without any electromagnetic protection for the electronic items which has to be protected. Now, imagine after 2 years, a big data center, the company who has hired this or leased this place, he realizes that my equipment are in trouble, there is no guarantee, let me vacate this place and go to a new place. This can happen. Believe me, this can happen because the foreign companies already started implementing it. But once when they come to India, after some time, once when they realize that these things are missing, they try to change. Under that condition, even if we have data center buildings which is empty, the question is, what do we do with these buildings? Are these buildings changeable to some other structure, something like that? Because these are huge infrastructure.
That's a very easy question, isn't it, for the afternoon? Yeah, I think first thing I really pity for the people who actually have built that particular facility without having these basic things. See, be it a global customer coming into India or customers from India, when they build any facilities which is mission critical, the basic thing which you go through is your electrical installations, including your cooling and everything, plus the electromagnetic interferences and the EMC equipments, which will ensure that the basic protections are available. Now, where I see it is that, the companies like Microsoft or Meta or Facebook, Google, when they come in, they come with certain global standards. That's one beautiful thing which we have seen. As we see in the normal buildings, unless somebody insists that I don't mind spending the capex and I still want to have that design, only then everybody will start looking at it. I call it as the ABC community. Architects, builders, and consultants, right? So they may come in one shot or they may come in different places. Now, if the customer is ready to actually get these things implemented, it is us in India to show that what we are capable of. It is not that these things are not available in our standards, it's just that the mentality for us to ensure that it is designed. Beyond the design, the main thing post that is your implementation. Again, implementation it's between 2 points connecting the dots, right? So I might get a very beautiful RFP comprising all the protection systems, and I design it on my papers. Ultimately, it will be done by these contractors at the site. Now, that is where the checks and balances come into picture, whether the kind of products which we use. I was listening to somebody in the afternoon saying that in outside, where I worked in Australia and New Zealand for about 8 years, if I buy any product in the data center, whether it is power, cooling, or anything, if it has to go through certain standards, procedures, and the codal requirement, it is given for 100% that this will be complied to that. So you don't have to actually go back and check. So once you start using such products coming into India, I think data center has been doing well in that particular concept. Coming back to Gopal, your question, if the buildings are still built without those basic necessities, I guess there may be something else which we need to look at in terms of audit them from priority-wise, what can be done the first, and then you can look at how to implement it. That's going to be a long journey, but looking at what's going in India for a data center industry, I think most of things are there. It is just that we need to do the final mile connectivity between design and implementation, because our customers are ready to actually ensure that it's also paid. However, per kilowatt in data center, it is coming down in terms of how much they get from their customers. At the end of the day, safety is the basic thing which we all have to embrace. I know it comes at certain cost in the initial, but later on it's all about human safety and the various other things which are in the business.
Thank you
I don't know,
very much.
it is the long answer, but I'm not sure.
Thank you very much. Actually, we have to think that L&T is not the only company who is constructing data center. L&T is out of this question. It was a general question.
Oh yeah, I mean, I hope I didn't answer it like an L&T guy, but I'm just 6 months old in this company.
Thank you.
I come from 20 years background with Schneider, and the point I'm looking at is I'm looking at it from the overall perspective. L&T is definitely, yes, we are building and we are ensuring that certain standards are also met there.
Yeah. We would like to get some questions from the audience.
Just to answer to his point, being non-L&T, I think data centers, whoever comes to take over data center space, they come with strong RFPs. And if any facility does not meet it, they don't use it. So that's the sort of thing, and if we are not ready for it, I think, as you said, we should see something else for that space. And we have gone, being L&T also, I'll tell you the other flip side also, we have gone through tough times with Microsoft and other people to take over even our facility. Okay, so from the data center point of view.
Maybe it's just a learning curve at this point in time, but it's very steep for us at this point in time.
Sir, my question is, recent days, we are hearing from the manufacturer of the switch and sockets informing that they are going to stop manufacturing the sockets beyond 16 amps because they are not getting license from BS. If it is so, what could be the technical reason, sir? Beyond 16 amps, they are going to stop manufacturing particularly the switch and sockets are concerned, sir. My concern is that if they stop 16 amps for particularly for the residential project for AC and geysers, the 16 amps is underrated and it will not last long and it may generate sparks also within the house. It is also proven to be against fire safety norms. So what is the solution also from your side?
Savita, can you come to my rescue?
No, before that, I would like to answer. Madam, you can answer, but not from BIS point of view, from general point of view. Yesterday, I have shown the fire chart and the power supply, PS1, PS2, PS3. The maximum allowed individual load for a typical application in a residential or office purpose is 16 amps. We are not supposed to use anything more than 16 amps. Maximum is 16 amps. Now, if you have something which is taking 16 amps means continuous. That means your switch and socket should be rated for it.
Yes,
now you have a 16 and 4 kilowatt itself is a big load, or it's a big load. Now, if you have something which is more, then you have to use the plugs and sockets which is based on another standard which goes to the industrial category. There are plugs and sockets. BIS have got a standard, not under mandatory certification, up to 125 amps. It's already there.
Now, particularly these modular sockets, why technical reason for stopping the manufacturing, sir? That's what my concern.
Actually, yeah. So Gopal sir has already informed that it's more than 16 amps. The standard it goes under the industrial usage. So there, as such, there is no stop from BIS not to manufacture these switches. So the standard stipulates that, and it is under voluntary right now. So standard stipulates that till, as sir told, till 125 amps the production is continuous. There is no stoppage from BIS.
That you mean to say we need to employ industrial circuit in the residential application, madam?
Sir, it depends on the user what you want to
I'm
use.
just high-wall splits, AIC, 2 kilowatt geysers.
But 16 amps is still available in the market, right?
16 amps available. Beyond 16 amps is not available.
So beyond 16 amps, it goes onto the market, into the industrial usage.
20 amps and 25 amps are not available.
Sir, as such, BIS doesn't stop anybody from not manufacturing any industrial requirement or household requirement, sir. There is no such regulation.
But manufacturers telling, madam. They are telling, most of the manufacturers, they are telling.
No, as Gopakumar said, see, beyond 16 amps, there is a industrial socket only for 20, 25 amps. Because you need, if you read the regulation carefully, it also be protected as an individual circuit. So an MCB has to be there. So it goes into the industrial thing. So you'll have to use industrial sockets for such applications. For an AC, you're saying for AC.
Particularly AC and geysers.
And geysers, you'll have to go into that mode of thing. Because if you have a load more than if your AC and other things goes beyond 3 kilowatt or something, then you have to get into that mode. Because you'll have to follow certain safeties for higher loads, This will not work.
In other words, you change the manufacturer.
No, most of the manufacturers are telling, sir.
Sir, actually more than 16 amps you don't need actually for residential purpose because your maximum load is within 16 amps.
Sir,
now, if you are fearful that...
It is not that, right, I understand, sir, but if when you are using for continuous duty application, what we have seen practically, our experience, using 16 amp circuit for AC and geyser, it lasts very few years. Afterward, it starts melting. Then finally, we are changing to 25 amps.
Now, for the
that
same
is not
AC,
applicable for continuous duty application. So it leads to frequent replacement. If yes, you can use 16 amps switch and socket for geyser AC, but it lasts very few years only. It leads to replacement, frequent replacement of the switch. When we are going for frequent replacement, finally we are going for 25 amps, 20 amps,
sir,
25
actually,
amps.
16 amps means it is rated for continuous rating of 16 amps. If it is failing, it's a quality problem of the manufacturer.
See, it is
This has
available in
nothing
the
to do
market,
with
sir.
standard actually. So if you allow me to take the next question, we can have an interaction on it. Actually, this has nothing to do with standards or more than 16 amps. Actually, you don't need for a residential or for a office purpose.
Krish, you want to say something? You can use the mic there. You can use the mic there.
Sir, if it is, I think it is under mandatory mark.
नहीं सर अभी नहीं है
Up to 16 it is mandatory.
हाँ yes sir
If you have a quality problem, download in your smart mobile the BIS Care app, lodge a complaint, upload a photograph of that melted
Socket.
socket. Your complaint will be redressed.
May I give a response to his question, please? See, up to 16 amperes, the standard is 1293. So if you look at 1293, the performance criteria only defines continuous use up to 16 amps. So you may obviously use an ISIC 60309 socket, which is an industrial socket for higher applications. But one thing I wanted to add was that why do you need a socket for a air conditioner or a geyser? It is a fixed appliance. You can just use a terminal block, like I said, 60998 part 1. Or you can use a connector rated for that current. What is the need for a socket and a plug on a fixed appliance? Thank you.
That is the right question, because we have to think about the concepts of fixed appliance and pluggable, portable or pluggable device. These two, the performance requirements are different. But to answer you, Krish, the air conditioners are, until now, these are termed as, pluggable device. It's not a part of, fixed appliance. Then the AC's performance requirement has to be improved, which is another big task. So, I hope we can go to the, sir, with your permission, we go to the next question.
Yes.
Sir, my question is to our former CAG, sir. Whom do you consider as an electrical consultant? Because why I am asking this question is that you have contractors, there is a provision for checking. You have the inspection part in that. If the consultant goes for an LT, especially I am telling for the building which is below 50 feet, or any other buildings, house, even any hotels, hospital, whatever it may be, there is no other, no second position is there to check their quality, consultancy, whether that drawing is correct or not, whatever service they are giving is correct or not, there is no checkpoint. Whatever they decide, that has to be implemented. Just like architect, how they are monopoly, their design, this type of consultant, their monopoly in their design that you have to use this, you have to do like this only. Because I have personally checked some points, some places, it is over-designed, unwanted things are installed, like this, so many things are happening. So is there any yardstick how to fix an electrical consultant?
Statutorily, there is no yardstick. We don't require architect, we don't require consultant. Only consumer require consultant for his self-confidence. He doesn't rely on the contractor. So contractors have to rise to the occasion and keep themselves abreast of various standards and regulations, and they have to compete. Actually, frankly speaking, the consultants as well as architects, they are all having a very high echelon and they have MEP and other things. So as far as consumer is concerned, every job is over. He can't go for various people and keep his things done. He enters some job. But statutorily, contractor and supervisor engineers, they are statutorily. When they sign, they find it difficulty. That's a difficulty. This question we have placed before the CEA at the Delhi meeting. As of now, there is no statutory obligation. That's what I have told already.
Shall I add something? This is a big problem, and most of us as a consumer suffer due to bad quality of services provided by the service provider. Unfortunately, throughout the world, the service sector contributes maximum to the GDP. And unfortunately, the standards for service sector is very, very less throughout the world. In ISO in all developed countries, in BIS also. So there is a need for standardization in the service sector. And knowing this need, growing need of service, in fact, service is the area where the consumers are being cheated maximum rather than product. So there is a need for standardization of service sector. We in BIS has established separate division council for service sector, standardizing service sector, where all these type of services, tourism services, financial services, educational services, healthcare services, topics are taken up for the standardization. So I think this is a very good subject for the standardization. Some of us can suggest this in our portal, then this can be taken up as a standardization subject. The consultant, qualification of consultant or services for the consultant. And like a product conformity assessment, there is a CASCO standards. All product certification or management system certifications are regulated or governed by certain standard, ISO 17021 or ISO 17065. Similarly, for certification of person, there is a standard, ISO standard, ISO 17024, which gives the criteria for certifying a person, professional. In that also, consultant, architect, the other professionals can be certified. And in fact, NABCB had started the certification of consultant for management system certification only, but not other. They've also started for yoga teachers also. So like that, it is coming, it is upcoming. So hopefully in few coming years, this problem will be sorted out.
Thank you.
I would like to add a little bit more. Probably you have seen yesterday's my presentation, and one of the divisions of NFE, sir, one of the division of NFE which we wanted to start is quality and accreditation. We started working on a scheme based on NEC, ISO 17024, 17021 and 17065. So we are making a scheme, and the same the NABCB and they are supporting us. Probably, as I said yesterday, maybe in 3-4 months we will release the. Actually, it is not we are making. It is a scheme which all of us together are making. Please note that it is not me and Apau sir or Balakrishnan sir sitting together, and this is we make a draft, then give to you, and you have to make all the comments, and we have to totally sit together, and we have to make not only all of us, but maybe all the engineers in the country made. Then we will make this scheme, which will, if we go for, our target is probably NABCB accreditation probably in 1 year. And if we are able to achieve, after this, there is the answer for this question. But before that, we have to decide who is the consultant. Recently, one of the leading consultant in Bombay made a comment to me. He made a definition for consultant. According to him, consultant is a person who is, sorry, just a joke. According to him, a consultant is a person who is strong enough to call himself as a consultant. So you call yourself as a consultant, then you become a consultant. That's all. Thank you. So, yeah.
As per the CEA regulations are concerned, we have the supplier, we have consumer, as well as electrical contractor, as per the regulation 23. So contractor has to implement that one. So contractor is taking some suggestion from some consultant. So he is believing that he knows better than him. So the quality of suggestion we don't know. So contractor has to believe. So that means you have to, you should have self-belief on that consultant. Okay, sir. So that's why a consultant concept is not there in the regulation. Thank you.
Can I ask, sir? Okay, good evening, sir. So, all along I know NEC means NEC of USA only, right? Now we have come to know NEC of India. How we are going to differentiate between that NEC and here so that we have our own unique reference, that's one. Second is this NEC, as you beautifully explained in the last 2 days, many speakers, the presentation, brought all the IS standards 3043, 732, all been referred and with additional and also more strict related to electrical safety. How we are going to take these standard requirements to various stakeholders? What is the method or mechanism or the process in which these things can be spread so that first they get the awareness, second is how to next process of implementing some monitoring and control system so that the standard purpose is going to really show in the final value addition for the electrical safety. Thank you.
Actually, this is a threat for our nation. A lot of people think that, a lot of engineers or a lot of people doesn't know about the BIS standards. Electrical engineers, rather than Indian NEC, they know more about the American NEC. And there is also a conflict here. American NEC, the latest edition is also 2023. They are calling it as NEC 2023. And if you Google, you will never get Indian NEC, you will go to the American website. So that is why once when we made the name, if you look at the title, National Electrical Code of India 2023. So NEC of India, first we put the title. Next actually, NEC, that we cannot anyway stop. First of all, we have to tell the engineers that there is an American NEC. First, you are in India, you are not in America, so you should follow Indian NEC. This is the first point. Then the second point is actually, there is a big support from foreign companies to push their national standard, because companies from America are benefited if they push their national standard into India. One of such case, today during lunch we were discussing. People always think that I made my earthing, which is my favorite subject. People say I made my earthing as per IEEE 80 standard. My God, it is not a standard. First of all, you understand, it is not a standard. It is a guide. There is a high voltage standard and they have standard, then something second level, third level is a guide. And IEEE 80, if we write to them, we had actually a little bit, a hot discussion. And I got a reply from the chairman of this responsible person from IEEE. He told that we cannot, because IEEE 80, according to me, is a beautifully, cleverly made standard which never talks about the applicable voltage. So the user doesn't know where it has to be applied. What we do, we take this standard and even apply it for 24 volt AC. Because substation in America has got definition above 66 kV. Whereas we take this standard 66 kV and above to our 230 volt installation. After this, the conflict started in CEA regulation. Actually, the team from US came to push the US standard into our regulation, but we could resist because of some conflict. But then they replied. The reply was actually shocking to me. We cannot put a definition of voltage into the standard because this is a sponsored standard. Sorry, not a standard. This is a sponsored document. The sponsorer should agree for this change. Now, who is the sponsor? Sponsor is the person who is doing business out of this standard. Now, who is the sponsor? Very easy. The software companies, those who are making hell a lot of money out of this. After this incident, I put a very nasty, social media post. Then I got lost a lot of bombing. This is what I told. I don't know once when the rule is implemented, I will have my head or not. Thank you. Yes.
Why do we need national standard? British has made many standard, Americans has made many standard. Why do you need? Why Government of India has established the then ISI in 1947, before even the independence started? why those visionary people started it. Because before that, British standard was there and we are happily implementing. Why the hell all other countries have its national standard bodies? Reason is that every country has a different climatic condition, the habit of the people, nature of the people, the rigors of the uses, they are different. So every country need a different standard. American standard will not do here because the climatic, the dust condition, the humidity condition is not, which is prevalent in our country, is not there in America. I will tell you one example. The cement, since I do not know much of the electrical standards, I think Gopal Kumarji can add something to my cement. There is a testing of compressive strength. In British standard, it is 20 degree. In our standard, it is 27 degree. Why? Because our temperature ranges are more. If you test it in 20 degree, in many our places it will fail. So let us stop utilizing the foreign standards. Yes, there are problems in our standard, problems in our technical, but we have to correct it. Nobody else, the US people and British people will not come here and set right our things. We have to set right our things. And nobody, even they are not perfect. So we are not perfect. Also we are not perfect. Let us, if there is any problem in a standard, come forward, give comments, and get it corrected. It is your standard, it is a national standard.
Thank you very much, sir. Very good explanation. We would like to ask a simple question to Mr. Ashokanand. Mr. Ashokanand, we would like to hear from you about your experience in the 2 days about the subject which we discussed. Plus one question. You know that this verification, the question, last discussion, verification, it is going to be mandatory. Now, according to you, as I told, there will be a cost part. It is not free. No one can work free. There will be a cost part. How this is going to influence once when we start, always we start with the cheap. So how this is going to influence the electrical installation and contracting business? Over to you.
Yeah, very good evening to all. The mandatory thing of the following the new NEC code is really a welcome thing that it can really push. But in the industry, there are a lot of things associated with the cost, and it's really difficult to push this. But somehow, since it's being mandatory, with CIG, CA's help and their strict vigilance, we can take it forward, and that way it will help us. The reason being, why it is so difficult to adopt and what is right and what is not wrong. I just take a simple example. There is a code called the voltage band that what we follow in India. It's called IS 12360, and somewhere in 1988 or something it was published, and from there on it had a updation on 2005 or something, and each time there is an amendment on what is the voltage that we have to follow in India. So anyone knows what is the voltage that we have to follow at the LT side? Yeah, so there is a confusion whether it's 433, 415, 400. The LT side, if it's a single phase, whether it's 240 or 230.
It's not 230.
So I just saw the updation, I have not gone to the latest code. It has been reviewed by BIS in 2020, but I went to go, I saw it when a problem came back around 10 years back, I saw this code, and this was pointed out by a firm which is outside India. So we were also not aware. So they were asking this question of what voltage that we need to follow. And the answer was that we have to follow 400. That's what is written in the standard.
Yes.
Okay. And what they were telling is like progressively the code, see the code, like since we've been following 415 for so long, it's not that easy to just change it to 400 in quick time. So they gave a timeline of how we can just slowly, gradually change it to 400. But still it has not happened. I saw this code somewhere in 2009, but still it has not happened. But that time it was not enforced. So the code preferred it was telling it as preferred voltage bands. But now with NEC being mandatory, and we have to get a safety certificate and a clearance certificate from the governing bodies, and with help of my colleagues who are sitting here. So definitely we can ensure that safety is of prime importance. Our near and dear ones are safe from the hazardous nature of the fire and electric shocks and the lightning and its adverse effects. So this is our prime concern. All the industry, the design people, the consultants, the execution, the governing bodies have come across as a first step. And thanks to the team over here, Mr. Kopakar, NFE, and others, who have taken as a strong message to the industry on the governing aspects, like what needs to be done and how it has to be told, what is right, and we have to do right. First thing is first, safety is first. Cost.
Thanks for the nice answer. So we would like to hear from you. Any questions from the audience?
Hello.
If you can introduce yourself, would be good.
Yes, sir. I am Kishore Kumar, electrical design engineer, L&T. Sir, my question is, recent days we have heard about EV batteries failures or explosions. My first question is, what is the main cause of that? Second, what are the precautions we need to take in the design?
Can anybody answer this question?
EV explosions, sir. EV battery explosions.
EV battery explosion. The question is how EV battery explosions can be avoided.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think EV batteries probably, there are two industries. One is the car industry, which is using this EV, and another is the two-wheelers. So probably the car manufacturers have upgraded themselves on lithium. Of course, it's still an issue on lithium batteries, is prone for fire. But they have improved the circuitries within the car to avoid such blasts. And any reputed manufacturers, if you buy a car from reputed manufacturers, yes, this problem is not there, okay? Because they have identified a lot of electronics into it to avoid such fires. But in the two-wheeler industry, yes, there is a problem both internationally and nationally. There is a R&D going on how to avoid this because we cannot avoid lithium. Probably they have to get something else to make it more fire safe. But as of now, lithium is the material being used which has this fire safety as issues. But on the car industry, yes, they've gone a long way to improve. I think last time when we had the fire safety meeting, a lot of things were explained on how safe it is. Two-wheeler, it'll come another probably another 6 months. They will improve it. I hope that answers your thing.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to add that CEA has come out with a regulation 2019 regarding EV charging stations only. Because as he said, the batteries, everything is a separate entity. It's not regulation. We can have a control over the circuit and protection devices according to the equipment performance. So equipment performance itself is in a questionable manner. That's what I want to add.
BIS is going to organize a seminar come discussion on EV charging stations, standard on EV charging standard. We have some standards has been already published, some are under the draft stage. So it will be in the end of this May end, because my friend Rajiv, who is expert in this, he is busy little in Kopalko meeting. He will be coming here along with other scientific officers to deliver lecture and discuss on the EV charging station. This will be in hybrid mode also. So I will send invitation to Gopal Kumarji, and he can, I think, spread it among you. All of you can join over that meeting.
Thank you, sir. More questions?
We have a TT system in our installation. If I want to convert into TN system, is there any regulatory restrictions? Whether a consumer end user can switch over to TT, from TT to TN or TN to TT?
Of course, I don't think that there is no regulatory problems. But once when you do, the engineer who is doing it, he has to be knowledgeable. Otherwise, instead of improving, it is going in the other direction, and accident can happen. Be careful.
What's your transformer capacity?
We have got some 20 substations.
Very big installation.
Ranging from, actually we are from Department of Atomic
No,
Energy.
okay. In a specific particular substation, you take one substation.
No, you want to, since TN has
For example,
more advantage.
it can be up 2.5 MVA, 11 kV bar 433
No,
volts.
it ranges from 400 kVA to 2.5 MVA. 20 substations are there, and
Maximum is
2.5 MVA, 11 kVA by 433.
See, for ESV substations, there will be a global earthing like earth mat design. It comes at the distribution transformer end only. The TN system will come into picture at the distribution transformer, say 11 kV bar 433 or 22 kV bar 433. There you have to change the OCPDs and circuit breakers settings, relay settings, everything will change because you would have set it for the TT. In fact, no system is a perfect TT system. All TT systems are inefficient TNS system because of armor connection and bus duct connection with the body, again body to neutral electrode. If you analyze something, it is not 100% technically a TT system, neither a TT nor a TNS system. So when you change, you have to be more careful. Being an atomic power plant, you have to be more careful in the coordination issues.
Okay. And one more question is, what is the acceptable neutral to earth voltage in case of TNS or TT system?
In TNS, there is no neutral to earth voltage. We have presented conducted and mitigation of conducted and radiated emission today morning. I think you might have presented. Have you participated that particular event?
Morning session.
Morning session.
Morning session I was there.
Okay. So then the difference, once you connect your localized TNS system, for example, if you have a UPS, this downstream of UPS is connected to a isolation transformer, galvanically isolated transformer. Then the TNS will start from that secondary of the transformer. All the infestations that will not be collected to your UPS or your downstream equipment. It's a very good system. Transformerless UPS, you should have a isolation transformer to restrict. Various measures, mitigation measures, we have morning elaborated. Okay. So there is no hard and fast rule. This should be the voltage. It depends on the EMC, compatibility of the equipment. For the desktop computer, it's allowable at monitor. For some other data centers, it will be so sensitive, it can't withstand. So it depends. Why do you, at the outset, you need not allow any neutral to earth voltage if a device conducted and radiated emission can be addressed correctly with the proven available measures.
Thank you.
Actually, to add the answer, to be specific about there is any particular voltage to neutral to earth. Say for example, manufacturers are actually creating a lot of confusion. Three-phase drive, which doesn't use the neutral. There also the neutral to earth voltage is measured and the manufacturer asks less than 5 volt. There is no logic behind it. You are not using neutral into your system. Then, if you technically ask what is the maximum voltage between neutral and earth, it can be 230 volt. Because body is your casing. Neutral is going into your system. Yesterday we saw that class 1 equipment. It is applicable only for class 1 equipment, and technically this in IT system, neutral to earth voltage is 230 volt and all your equipment are designed to operate on it. So this is a fear created by the manufacturers, a baseless fear. But of course, electronic equipment which is having communication or which is communicating to other appliances, there if the manufacturer needs some zero reference, then he has to have that terminal first. Functional earthing terminal, which is the 6th terminal in his equipment. Most of the time, this equipment doesn't have the 6th terminal. That means it doesn't need this, the voltage can be 230 volt. Thank you.
Sir, I am Professor Muttan. We have the civil plan approved by the authorities. Can we have the possibility in future that the electrical wiring system of every home, that NEC in place now, should be approved, if not here at the beginning of the building, at least at the end, after the completion of the building, the wiring system should be there. I have never seen the wiring system of my home. Sir, when I want...
See, as per regulation 12,
now that NEC
29.
is in place, I think at least after the building, I need the wiring system approved so that everything is in place. Smart homes are on the rise. Future will see a lot of smart homes. I think that should be approved. Then only as a consumer, I will know the standards. That's one of the important things.
Yes, as per regulation, unless there is an approval, supply should not be given. Water and electricity connection, it is in the Act, regulation.
Correct, sir.
But whether it is practically happening.
No, it's not happening. I have not seen the wiring system of my home.
For high voltage, government have notified the voltage under the purview of inspectors and certain voltage under the purview of CESCs. So under the purview of inspectors, inspectors can answer.
No, I am talking about the wiring plan, sir.
Yeah, everything comes. See, once the person who is certifying that wiring comes into picture, he is defined. He is defined. So a person is defined, contractor is defined, who is the inspector is defined.
But for domestic, nobody comes, sir.
Yes, that is what I have addressed in the initial first question. I have addressed that issue. For domestic suppliers, as our CE person addressed, suppliers will be responsible. Whether it is happening or not, I am not going to comment on it. I am neither a supplier nor as for inspector part, I have told my answer. For the supplier part, some people has to
No,
come.
sir, before my building plan is approved and I pay my house tax, let the wiring be approved. The whole wiring system should be approved. Why not?
No, building plan will be approved by the DTCP or CMDA according to the
That is civil building.
town country planning.
Civil building plan, sir.
Yes.
Now I am talking about electrical wiring plan.
Electrical wiring plan will be approved by the local.
No, sir, no wiring plan is
no
given.
plan approval, yes.
No, I think with the NEC, this should be made mandatory. That's my humble
Gopa, I think, can I take this?
I'll just
Please.
answer this. Yeah. See, there is a regulation, any multi-storied building, all the electrical plans also has to be approved before construction. All multi-storied residential or multi-storied buildings or some buildings which has a load, minimum load, has to go. That process is already existing. If somebody is violating it, I mean, it's something not correct. Okay, so we have to get an approval, then only construct. In that, including the wiring, everything has to be indicated. Then only CIG approves it, then we construct. They come for inspection, whether we have adopted as per the design, and they give fit for supply. But what is happening in the smaller facilities where the LV things are there, I don't know, the regulation CA, and there is a law, I mean, we should get it approved, then only, as he said, the power connection will be given. There is an authority to check it, but it's not happening.
Yes.
I mean, that we,
Yes,
that,
this is for the domestic small premises. You mean for the
Yeah,
domestic?
sir, I mean standard.
For every
should-
household.
Whether it is a single person or many person, small or big, standard is a
No,
standard.
voltage level. Why I am asking I want to ascertain what level is the building. If it is a multi-story building, then the answer will be different. That's why I am asking. If it is an independent small home without any high-rise building involving high-rise building and 11 kV supply, then the answer will be different. That's why I am asking.
No, I agree, sir. Even there, the plan should be approved, everything is proper, everything has to be
No,
tested.
please tell me. I can be specific to your query. Please enable me to answer that.
No, sir, individual house, sir. 2,000
Okay,
square
individual
feet.
house.
Yes.
Okay, supplier is the responsibility.
Sup-
Supplier, TNEB. Discom is the responsibility.
Yeah,
You have to give the
TNEB.
completion
Tamil
report.
Nadu EB.
he has to
Yes.
check actually, but
Yes.
that's not happening.
But they are not asking the electrical wiring
That is
plan.
different. That is different. But
No,
as per
Actually-
regulation,
Sir, it's correct. I agree, but we should insist that wiring plan has to be asked by the TNEB. See, we cannot just leave it like that.
Actually, sir, that distribution company, no, so Discom, here in the case of Tangentco, they have to, before giving supply,
Yeah.
they have to ensure that your installation is safe.
That's perfect, sir.
They
Which
have
means
to-
I have to submit the wiring system plan. From my
Yes,
home,
they have
I have
to
to
take
submit
it.
the submit.
As
He has
per
to
the-
check whether everything is
Yes,
correct.
yes,
Which
yes.
I'm not submitting, they are not verifying.
I think this is there, law is there, how to enforce it.
I
We'll
think
have
with
to see.
NEC in place, I
Yeah,
wish
we
that
can take
these
it
things
up.
should be taken care of.
Yeah, we can take it up, yeah.
So, actually NEC is the first step. From 0, we have to go to 100, and this is the first
So
step.
we have
Now,
to do it fast.
yes, we have to do it fast. So,
Time, if they incorporate the same electrical laws should be submitted, I think that problem will be solved.
Yeah, but that government has to decide, no? I mean, government has to decide. So that is
you see,
something.
this is the first step. Now we will go closer to the steps. We have to patiently wait and do
I
step
can
by
tell.
step.
I can tell one analogy. Enforcement, for example, energy conservation building code has come into existence now in our state. So energy conservation building code comes under the purview of the state designated agency, which is nothing but Tangentco. They are giving supply. But the approval has to be done by the local body. So every body in the government has its own role and responsibility. So we can't ask the local body to give approval for wiring. If we give the drawing approval, everything, then it will be routed and it will take more time. Then you will find that, oh, this is easy. We could have approached the Tangentco. So what NEF is doing is, we have already taken this into account in the interest of general public at large who are neglected. We will bring it.
So thank you very much for all. Actually, Umashankar sir wanted to leave. Not only him, I also wanted to leave because
I think
it's too tight for us.
Yeah, but anyway, it's very interesting. I mean, all of you had a lot of questions, so it was, we feel, I mean, the thing was very successful, this particular workshop for 2 days. By the way, people are questioning us, and we will take it forward jointly, all of us together will take it forward.
Yes, also from our side, we would like to thank Umashankar sir for attending this question and answer session. Also, Mr. Uma Maheshwar Rao for attending all the complete 2 days. But this program is successful only because of L&T. So thank you very much, Balakrishnan sir, for giving such a nice venue plus food So we are happy, and the food is very nice actually.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
No, it's all because of you people attending and making it a grand success. It's not only L&T, all of jointly.
Yeah. So thank you very much. With this, we will end up the program. We will have a small photo session, and we have to give some mementos as well.